Wipe that table properly, or are you too slow? The billionaire mocked, tossing a napkin at Zaria Holt, a black waitress at Moonlit Terrace. The degrading act burned, but she endured, her art dreams fading to pay for her mother's heart treatment. Then, a seagull tattoo on Cassian Vale's wrist, dated 25/1999, matching her mom's, ignited a fire. My mom has your tattoo, Zaria challenged, her voice cracking open a past of love and loss. What secret tied Cassian to Elowen's heartbreak? As Zaria demands answers, her courage sparks a clash of truth, wealth, and buried pain. Can they unravel the past without breaking apart? This emotional saga of defiance will grip you. Where are you tuning in from? Hit like, share, and subscribe to keep these powerful stories alive. Zaria Holt weaved through the crowded dining room of Moonlit Terrace, her tray balanced with champagne flutes that sparkled under the chandelier glow. Her black uniform clung to her sweat-dampened skin, and her feet ached in the required heels. But she kept her smile plastered on, ignoring the sidelong glances from patrons who saw her as invisible, or worse, beneath them. A white-haired man in a tuxedo snapped his fingers, not even looking up as he demanded another martini. Zaria nodded, biting back a retort. She needed this job. Her mother, Elowen, needed the money for her failing heart, tethered to a second-hand pacemaker that hummed like a dying engine. At the bar, Lyric Monroe, her best friend and the night's saving grace, slid a glass of water her way. You look like you're about to snap, Z. Don't let these rich fools get to you. Lyric's braids swung as she mixed a cocktail, her eyes glinting with defiance. She'd been chasing a music career, but another rejected demo had her pouring drinks tonight instead of singing. They're not worth my energy, Zaria said, gulping the water. But the manager's on my case again. Gave me double the cleanup shifts because I'm the only one who doesn't complain. Her voice dropped, bitter. Guess being black means I'm supposed to be grateful for scraps. Lyric snorted. That's bullshit. You're worth more than this place. When's the last time you painted? That canvas in your room is collecting dust. Zaria's chest tightened. Her unfinished painting, a soaring seagull inspired by her mother's wrist tattoo, sat untouched in her cramped apartment. Painting doesn't pay for Elowen's meds, she said, turning away. I gotta get back. She headed toward the VIP section, where a new group had just arrived. Cassian Vale, billionaire hotel magnate, sat at the center, his sharp jawline and silver-flecked hair commanding the room. His tailored suit screamed wealth, and his cold blue eyes scanned a contract as if the world owed him obedience. Beside him, Thane Carver, his younger business partner, leaned in, whispering about a merger. Thane's slick grin and darting gaze marked him as a man who thrived on control. Zaria approached, steadying her tray. Good evening, gentlemen. Champagne? Cassian didn't look up, waving a dismissive hand. Thane smirked. Make it quick, sweetheart. We're not here for the service. Zaria's jaw clenched, but she poured, her hands steady despite the heat rising in her chest. As she turned to leave, her tray brushed a glass, sending it tipping. She caught it just in time, but a splash of water hit the table, dampening Cassian's papers. God damn it, Cassian snapped, finally meeting her eyes. Can't you do your job without making a mess? Get someone competent. The word stung like a slap. Zaria froze, her apology caught in her throat. Thane chuckled. Relax, Cass. She's just the help. Probably her first day. The condescension in his tone, paired with his pointed glance at her skin, made her fist curl. She forced a nod, retreating to the bar, her face burning. Her Lyric was there, eyes wide. What the hell was that? That jerk's got no right. Forget it, Zaria cut in, her voice low. I can't afford to lose this gig. She busied herself wiping the tray, but her mind churned. Elowen's hospital bills were piling up, and every insult she swallowed was for her mother's survival. Later, as she cleared the VIP table, Cassian signed a document, his sleeve pulling back to reveal a tattoo on his wrist. A seagull, its wings spread, with the date 25/1999 inked below. Zaria's breath caught. Her mother's identical tattoo flashed in her mind. A mark Elowen said was tied to a man who'd broken her heart. Zaria's pulse raced. Could it be him? The man who'd left Elowen pregnant and alone? She lingered, watching Cassian's pen move, his face unreadable. Thane noticed, smirking. What, you got a crush on the boss? Keep dreaming. Zaria ignored him, her mind spinning. Elowen never spoke of the man's name, only that he'd chosen wealth over her. Now here was Cassian Vale, a billionaire with the same tattoo, the same date. Back at the bar, Lyric raised an eyebrow. You okay? You look like you saw a ghost. Zaria leaned in, voice barely above a whisper. That guy, Cassian Vale, he's got a tattoo just like my mom's. Same seagull, same date. She said it was from the guy who left her when she was pregnant with me. Lyric's jaw dropped. No way, you think he's your dad? I don't know, Zaria said, her hands trembling. But I'm gonna find out. I have to. She pulled out her phone, typing a quick text to Lyric. I'm confronting him tonight. Cover for me if I'm late. Her heart pounded as she steeled herself, knowing this could change everything or break her mother's fragile hope. Zaria's heart hammered as she approached the VIP table, her tray abandoned at the bar. The hum of Moonlit Terrace faded, replaced by the pulse in her ears. Cassian Vale sat alone now, Thane Carver having stepped away to take a call. Cassian's eyes were fixed on his phone, the seagull tattoo peeking from his cuff. Zaria clenched her fists, forcing her voice steady. Excuse me, Mr. Vale. I need to talk to you. He glanced up, irritation flashing across his face. What is it? I'm busy. She swallowed hard, the weight of 26 years pressing against her chest. Your tattoo, the seagull with the date 25/1999. My mother, Zaria Holt, has the exact same one. She got it with a man she loved in college, someone who left her when she was pregnant. Cassian's phone slipped from his hand, clattering onto the table. His face drained of color, eyes wide with something like fear. What did you just say? His voice was low, barely audible over the restaurant's chatter. Zaria pressed on, her voice trembling but firm. Zaria Holt. She said the man she loved abandoned her after giving her money to get rid of the baby. That was 26 years ago. I'm 26. The air seemed to vanish from the room. Cassian's hand twitched, knocking over a wine glass. The crash of crystal echoed, drawing every eye in the restaurant. He didn't notice, his gaze locked on Zaria. That's impossible, he breathed. Elowen. She told me the baby was gone. She said it was over. Obviously, it wasn't, Zaria snapped, her anger spilling out. I'm standing right here, and my mother's dying because we can't afford her heart treatment, while you're sipping wine that costs more than our rent. Thane reappeared, his slick smile fading as he caught the tension. What's this about, Cass? Is the help bothering you? He turned to Zaria, his tone dripping with disdain. You think you can pull some sob story to get a payout? Typical. Zaria's fist tightened, her nails biting into her palms. I'm not here for your money. I'm here because my mother deserves to know why her life fell apart, and I deserve to know who my father is. Father? Thane laughed, a sharp, cruel sound. You're delusional. Cass, tell her to get lost before she makes a scene. Cassian's jaw clenched, but he didn't move, his eyes still on Zaria. Get out, Thane, he said, his voice dangerously quiet. Thane blinked, caught off guard, but slunk away, muttering about bad PR. Zaria's chest heaved, tears burning her eyes. Is it true? Were you with her? Did you leave her? Cassian's hands shook as he rubbed his face. I loved Elowen. We were young, stupid. When she got pregnant, my father said it would ruin me. I gave her money, told her we weren't ready. She called me later, said she'd lost the baby. Then she disappeared. Disappeared? Zaria's voice rose, drawing more stares. She raised me alone, working 3 jobs, skipping meals so I could eat. And you were what? Building your empire? I didn't know, Cassian said, his voice cracking. If I'd known you existed, save it, Zaria cut him off, wiping her eyes. I don't need your excuses. I need my mother to live. She turned to leave, but Cassian grabbed her arm. Not hard, but desperate. Wait, what's wrong with her? What does she need? Zaria yanked free. She needs a new pacemaker, surgery, and meds we can't afford. But don't think you can throw money at this and make it right. She stormed out, the weight of every patron's gaze heavy on her back. Lyric caught her at the staff exit, eyes wide. Zaria, what happened? You look like you're about to collapse. I told him, Zaria said, her voice raw. He might be my father, and he didn't even know I existed. She leaned against the wall, fighting sobs. Lyric hugged her, murmuring, We'll figure this out. You're not alone. Inside, Cassian sat frozen, the shattered glass at his feet. His mind replayed Elowen's face, her laugh, the night they got those tattoos, swearing they'd conquer the world together. He'd spent decades bearing that pain, building hotels to fill the void. Now a daughter he'd never known. Thane slid back into the booth, smirking. You're not seriously buying this, are you? She's playing you. Probably got that tattoo story off the internet. Shut up, Cassian snapped, his voice like steel. He pulled out his phone, dialing his assistant. Find me everything on Zaria Holt and Elowen Holt. Address, medical records, everything, now. As Zaria walked home through the cold night, her phone buzzed with a text from Lyric. I'm here if you need me. Don't do anything crazy. Zaria didn't reply, her mind a storm of anger and questions. She'd opened a door she couldn't close, and whatever came next would change her life forever. Zaria fumbled with her keys, the dim hallway light flickering above her apartment door. Her hands shook from the confrontation at Moonlit Terrace. Cassian Vale's shocked face burned into her mind. She pushed inside, the faint hum of Elowen's pacemaker greeting her. Her mother lay on a worn couch, pale and fragile, a quilt draped over her thin frame. Zaria's chest tightened. She couldn't tell her yet, not until she was sure. Late night, baby? Elowen's voice was weak but warm, her eyes half open. Yeah, busy shift, Zaria lied, forcing a smile. She knelt beside her mother, adjusting the quilt. You need anything? Water? Meds? I'm fine, Elowen said, her hand brushing Zaria's. You work too hard. You should be painting, not serving snobs. Zaria's throat burned. She wanted to ask about the seagull tattoo, about the man who'd left them, but Elowen's frail state stopped her. Get some rest, Mom. I'll check on you later. She kissed her forehead, then retreated to her corner of the room, where an easel held her unfinished canvas. The seagull stared back, a mirror of the tattoo that had upended her night. Her phone buzzed. Lyric. You okay? That was intense. What's next? Zaria typed back. I don't know. He's looking for us. I'm scared. She opened her laptop, searching Cassian Vale. Articles flooded the screen. Billionaire hotel tycoon, ruthless dealmaker, a man who'd built an empire from nothing. Her stomach churned. How could this be her father? Across town, Cassian stood in his sleek office, the city skyline glittering beyond the glass. His assistant's report lay on the desk. Zaria Holt, 26, waitress. Elowen Holt, 45, severe heart condition, no insurance. He stared at the seagull tattoo on his wrist, the ink a painful reminder of a life he'd buried. Thane Carver barged in, his voice sharp. You're not seriously chasing this, are you? That girl's playing you for cash. You've got a merger to close, not a soap opera to star in. She's not playing me, Cassian said, his tone icy. Her eyes, they're Elowen's. I'd know them anywhere. Thane scoffed. Eyes? Come on, Cass, you're worth billions. People like her make up stories to get a piece. Don't let her drag you down. Cassian's jaw tightened. If she's my daughter, I've already failed her for 26 years. I'm not failing her now. He grabbed his coat. I'm going to her apartment. Thane grabbed his arm. This is a mistake. My cousin got burned by a con like this. Lost millions. You want that on the board's radar? Get your hand off me, Cassian said, shrugging him off. This isn't your call. Back at the apartment, Zaria paced, her phone buzzing again. Lyric's voice crackled through. Girl, you need to eat or sleep or something. You can't just sit there freaking out. I can't stop thinking, Zaria said, her voice low. What if he's really my dad? What if he shows up here? Mom's too weak for this. She glanced at Elowen, now asleep, her breathing uneven. Then you face it, Lyric said. You're the strongest person I know. If he's your dad, make him own it. If he's not, you'll survive. You always do. Zaria managed a weak laugh. You're too good to me. How's that demo going? Got a call back tomorrow, Lyric said, her tone brightening. Might actually get a shot. But this ain't about me. You need me there? No, I got this, Zaria said, though her stomach twisted. She hung up, staring at her canvas. The seagull's wings seemed to mock her, a symbol of freedom she'd never known. A sharp knock startled her. She froze, heart pounding. Another knock, insistent. She crept to the door, peering through the peephole. Cassian Vale stood there, his expensive coat absurd against the peeling paint of the hallway. Zaria's breath caught. She glanced at Elowen, still asleep, and opened the door a crack. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. "I need to see her," Cassian said, his voice low but urgent. "Elowen, if you're my daughter, I need to know. Please." "You don't get to barge in here," Zaria snapped, keeping her voice down. "My mom's sick. She can't handle this." "I'm not here to hurt her," Cassian said, his eyes pleading. I have to know. I've spent 26 years thinking I lost everything. If you're mine, I've missed everything." Zaria's resolve wavered, his raw tone cutting through her anger. She glanced back at Elowen, then at Cassian. "You stay quiet. You wake her, you're gone." She opened the door wider, letting him step inside. The apartment's shabbiness seemed to hit him like a blow. Cracked walls, a single bulb casting shadows. Zaria watched him, her heart a tangle of fear and defiance, ready for whatever truth was about to unravel. Zaria stood rigid as Cassian Vale stepped into her cramped apartment, his polished shoes stark against the worn linoleum. Elowen stirred on the couch, her eyes fluttering open. She froze, her gaze locking on Cassian. "Cassian?" Her voice was a fragile whisper, laced with disbelief. The pacemaker's faint hum filled the silence. Zaria moved to her mother's side, her heart pounding. "Mom, stay calm. He showed up. I didn't ask him to." She shot Cassian a warning glance, her body a shield between him and Elowen. Cassian's face crumpled, a mix of pain and recognition. "Elowen, it's really you." He took a hesitant step forward, then stopped, hands clenched. "Why didn't you tell me? You said the baby was gone." Elowen's lips trembled, her hands clutching the quilt. "You told me to get rid of it, gave me money and walked away. What was I supposed to do? Beg you to care." Her voice broke, but her eyes burned with old wounds. Zaria's breath caught. "Is it true, Mom? He's my father?" Her voice wavered, anger and shock colliding. She turned to Cassian. "You left her? Left us?" Cassian's shoulders sagged. "I was 20. My father said a kid would ruin me. I panicked, gave her money, and thought it was the right thing. When she called, she said she'd lost the baby. He choked, rubbing his face. "I tried to find you, Elowen. For months. You were gone." "Gone?" Elowen's laugh was bitter, cut short by a cough. "I was working diners, pregnant, sleeping in a basement. I raised Zaria alone because you chose your father's money over us." Zaria's fist clenched, tears stinging her eyes. "You're both saying I grew up with nothing while you," she jabbed a finger at Cassian, "built hotels and drank champagne? Mom's dying because we can't afford a doctor, and you didn't even know I existed." Cassian flinched, his voice raw. "I didn't know, Zaria. If I had, I'd have—" "What? Sent a check?" Zaria's voice rose, shaking. "Mom needs a new pacemaker, surgery, and meds. We're drowning, and you're standing here in a suit that costs more than our rent." Elowen reached for Zaria's hand, her grip weak. "Baby, don't. I kept you from him. I thought he'd reject you, like he did me." Her eyes met Cassian's, a flicker of guilt passing between them. "I was wrong to lie." Cassian's knees buckled slightly and he leaned against the wall. "You're my daughter," he said, testing the words, his voice barely audible. "I missed everything." He looked at Elowen, desperate. "What does she need?" "The heart thing, tell me." Zaria's anger flared. "You think you can fix this with money? 26 years, gone. You don't get to play hero now." She pointed to the door. "Get out." "Zaria," Elowen said softly, her hand tightening. "Don't. Not like this. He's here. Let him try." Her voice faltered, exhaustion overtaking her. Cassian straightened, his eyes glistening. "I'll cover everything. Doctors, surgery, whatever you need. Not to fix the past, but because you don't deserve to suffer." He met Zaria's gaze. "I know you hate me. You should. But let me do this." Zaria's tears spilled over, her resolve cracking. She wanted to scream, to shove him out, but Elowen's shallow breathing anchored her. "Fine," she said, her voice cold. "But don't think this makes us family. You're nothing to me." Cassian nodded, swallowing hard. "I'll arrange a doctor. Tomorrow. You won't see me unless you want to." He hesitated, then stepped out, the door clicking shut behind him. Zaria sank to the floor beside Elowen, sobbing. "Why didn't you tell me, Mom? All those years I thought my dad was dead or didn't care. And him?" Elowen stroked her hair, tears streaking her face. "I wanted to protect you. I thought if he knew, he'd take you away or hurt you like he hurt me. I'm sorry, baby. Zaria's phone buzzed. Lyric, texting. You good? Need me to come over? Zaria typed back. He's my dad. I don't know what to do. She set the phone down, her mind a storm. Elowen's hand felt frail in hers, a reminder of what was at stake. Outside, Cassian climbed into his car, his hands shaking as he dialed his assistant. Get me Dr. Soren Quill, the best cardiologist. I need him for a patient tomorrow. Money's no object. He stared at the apartment building, the weight of Zaria's words crushing him. He'd failed her before she was born. He wouldn't fail her now. Zaria sat by Elowen, watching her mother drift to sleep. The seagull tattoo on Elowen's wrist caught the light, a mark that had shattered her world. She didn't know if Cassian could be trusted, but for her mother's sake, she'd let him try. Tomorrow would bring answers, or more pain. Zaria gripped Elowen's arm as they stepped into the sleek hospital corridor, the sterile scent sharp in her nose. Her mother's steps were slow, the quilt from their apartment draped over her shoulders like a shield. Zaria's stomach churned. Cassian Vale's promise of a doctor had brought them here, but trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. She glanced at Elowen, whose pale face betrayed her fear. You okay, Mom? Zaria asked, voice low. I'm scared, Elowen admitted, her hand trembling. I don't want his charity, Zaria. Not after everything. It's not charity, Zaria said, though the words felt hollow. It's for you. We need this. She squeezed Elowen's hand, hiding her own doubts about Cassian's motives. Dr. Soren Quill greeted them in a private exam room, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the chaos of Zaria's thoughts. Mrs. Holt, I've reviewed your records, he said, adjusting his glasses. Your heart condition, congestive heart failure, is serious but treatable with medication and a possible pacemaker upgrade. Mr. Vale has covered all costs. Elowen stiffened. I don't want his money. I've managed this long without him. Zaria's jaw tightened. Mom, you've managed by skipping meds and eating ramen? You're here because you're dying. Her voice cracked and she turned away, blinking back tears. Dr. Quill's expression softened. I lost my sister to a treatable condition because we couldn't afford care. I understand pride, but don't let it cost you your life. He handed Elowen a treatment plan. We can start today. You could be back to normal in 6 months. Elowen's eyes glistened, her resolve wavering. 6 months? She looked at Zaria, who nodded, silently pleading. Okay, Elowen whispered. For you, baby. Zaria exhaled, relief flooding her. She stepped outside as Dr. Quill began the exam, her phone buzzing with a text from Lyric. How's it going? You holding up? Zaria typed back. Mom's getting help. I'm freaking out, but it's something. She leaned against the wall, exhaustion hitting hard. Cassian appeared at the corridor's end, his coat slung over one arm. Zaria tensed, straightening. What are you doing here? I said we don't need you hovering. I had to know she's okay, Cassian said, his voice low. I'm not here to push. Just tell me what she needs. His eyes, usually cold, held a raw edge that caught Zaria off guard. She needs a new pacemaker, meds, maybe surgery, Zaria said, crossing her arms. You got what you wanted. Your guilt's paid off. Now what? Cassian flinched. This isn't about guilt. I missed 26 years of your life. I can't fix that, but I can make sure your mother lives. He paused, searching her face. Why do you hate me so much? Zaria's laugh was sharp. You left us. I grew up watching Mom collapse from overwork while you built your empire. People like you don't care about people like us. I care about you, Cassian said, his voice breaking. You're my daughter, Zaria. I didn't know, but I do now. She turned away, her throat tight. Words don't mean anything. Prove it. Her phone buzzed again. Lyric with a photo of an old paintbrush set. Found this in my closet. Time to get back to your art, girl. Zaria's chest ached. She hadn't painted since Elowen got sick, her seagull canvas gathering dust. Dr. Quill emerged, interrupting. Good news. Elowen's stable, responding well to the initial meds. We'll schedule the pacemaker surgery next week. He glanced at Cassian. Your support made this possible, Mr. Vale. Zaria's anger wavered, a flicker of gratitude breaking through. She looked at Cassian. Thank you for this. But don't expect me to call you Dad. I don't, Cassian said softly. I just want a chance to know you. He stepped back, giving her space, and left without another word. Zaria returned to Elowen, who was sitting up, color returning to her cheeks. He's trying, isn't he? Elowen said, her voice soft. Trying doesn't erase the past, Zaria replied, but her tone lacked its usual bite. She helped Elowen into a wheelchair, her mind drifting to Lyric's text. Maybe, just maybe, if Elowen got better, she could pick up a brush again. At home, Zaria pulled out her easel, the seagull canvas staring back. She grabbed a pencil, sketching a single wing, her hands unsteady but alive. Her phone lit up. Lyric. Knew you'd start painting again. Don't stop. Zaria smiled, a spark of hope igniting. Elowen's treatment was a lifeline, but Cassian's role in it was a question she wasn't ready to answer. Zaria pushed open the door to the new apartment, the scent of fresh paint a stark contrast to their old, moldy place. Elowen shuffled in behind her, clutching a hospital discharge packet, her face brighter than it had been in years. Cassian Vale had arranged the move. New furniture, a real bedroom, no flickering lights. Zaria's stomach twisted with unease. This doesn't feel like home, she said, setting down Elowen's bag. It's his money, not ours. Elowen sighed, easing onto a plush couch. It's for my health, baby. I hate it too, but I'm breathing easier already. She patted the seat beside her. Sit. You've been carrying the world too long. Zaria stayed standing, arms crossed. I don't trust him, Mom. He's buying us, like we're one of his hotels. Her phone buzzed. Lyric, texting. How's the fancy new place? You painting yet? Zaria ignored it, her eyes drifting to her seagull canvas, propped against a wall. You don't have to trust him, Elowen said. But he's giving us a chance to live, not just survive. That's something. Her voice softened. I saw how you looked at that easel. You miss it, don't you? Zaria's throat tightened. She'd enrolled in an art course, paid for by Cassian, but hadn't touched a brush since sketching that wing. Maybe, she admitted, then changed the subject. You need your meds? Elowen waved her off. I'm fine. Go meet him today. You promised. Zaria grimaced. She'd agreed to weekly coffee with Cassian, a reluctant step toward understanding him. At a small cafe later, she sat across from him, his casual sweater jarring after his usual suits. He slid a coffee her way. You don't have to talk, he said. I'm just glad you're here. She sipped, studying him. Why do you care now? You didn't for 26 years. Cassian's jaw tightened. I didn't know you existed, but I know what it's like to lose someone. I lost your mother because I was weak, scared of my father's threats. I built everything to prove I wasn't that kid anymore, but it's empty without... He trailed off, eyes glistening. Without you. Zaria's chest ached, but she pushed back. I worked doubles at Moonlit Terrace, got called names because of my skin, while you lived like a king. You don't get to waltz in and play dad. I know, Cassian said, voice low. But I see you, how strong you are, how you fought for Elowen. I want to be part of that, even if it's just coffee once a week. She looked away, her anger softening against his sincerity. Her phone buzzed again. Lyric. Got a gig tonight. Come see me sing. Bring your sketchbook. Zaria typed back. I'll try. Congrats. Lyric's music career was taking off, and a small label signed her after a viral video. It stirred something in Zaria, a pull to create again. That evening, at a cozy bar, Lyric belted a soulful ballad, her voice raw and electric. Zaria sketched her friend mid-song, the seagull taking shape beside her. Lyric bounded over after, grinning. Look at you, back in the game. Gallery's gonna love this. I set up a small show for you next week. Zaria froze. A show? I'm not ready. You're ready, Lyric said, shoving her playfully. You're Zaria Holt. You don't quit. She lowered her voice. Heard from that billionaire dad of yours? We talked, Zaria said, sketching faster. He's trying. I don't know what to feel. At the gallery show days later, Zaria's seagull painting hung center stage, its wings bold against a stormy sky. Her heart raced as strangers praised it, a curator offering to feature her work. Cassian arrived uninvited, his presence jarring. He studied the painting, then handed her a check. $10,000. For your art, he said. It's incredible. Zaria's face burned. I'm not your charity case. Take it back. She shoved the check at him, her voice loud enough to turn heads. It's not charity, Cassian said, stepping closer. It's be'elief. You're my daughter, Zaria. I want the world to see what I see. Her anger faltered, his words hitting a nerve. She kept the check but said, this doesn't change anything. You're still Cassian, not Dad. He nodded, a faint smile breaking through. As she left, her phone lit up. Thane Carver's name in a news alert. He'd leaked a story calling her a gold digger targeting Cassian. Zaria's blood boiled, but a text from Lyric calmed her. Ignore that asshole. You're bigger than him. Zaria clutched her sketchbook, the seagull's wings fueling her resolve. Cassian's belief, Elowen's recovery, her art, they were steps towards something new, even if trust was still out of reach. Zaria slid into a booth at a cozy diner, the smell of fried onions and coffee grounding her. Elowen sat across, her cheeks flushed with new health, a stark contrast to the frail woman of months ago. Cassian Vale arrived last, his sweater and jeans a clumsy attempt at normalcy. The trio's silence was heavy, broken only by the clink of silverware as they ordered. Zaria's sketchbook lay beside her, the seagull drawing a reminder of her gallery show, and Thane Carver's vicious article calling her a con artist. Elowen spoke first, her voice soft but steady. I owe you an apology, Cassian. I hid Zaria from you, told myself it was to protect her, but I was scared you'd hurt her like you hurt me. That was wrong. Cassian's fork paused midair, his eyes glistening. I'm the one who should apologize. I gave you money and walked away, too weak to stand up to my father. I failed you both before Zaria was born. He looked at her, voice raw. I'll carry that guilt forever. Zaria's chest tightened, their words peeling back years of pain. She set down her coffee, her voice sharp. I'm sitting right here, you know. I grew up watching Mom starve so I could eat, while you built skyscrapers. I was angry, at both of you. But now? She paused, her throat tight. Mom's alive. You're here. That's something. Cassian leaned forward, tentative. I don't expect you to forgive me, Zaria, but I'm not going anywhere. I want to know you, even if it's just dinners like this. Zaria nodded, not trusting herself to speak. Her phone buzzed. Lyric, texting. You at that family dinner? Tell me it's not a disaster. Zaria typed back. It's weird, but okay. Your gig tonight. Lyric's reply was instant. Killing it. Come after. Her friend's rising music career was a bright spot, a mirror to Zaria's own rekindled art. Elowen reached for Zaria's hand. You've been so strong, baby. I wish I'd given you a father, not just a mother. You gave me everything you had, Zaria said, squeezing back. That's enough. She glanced at Cassian. But you? You've got a lot to prove. I will, Cassian said, his voice firm. Starting with Thane. I fired him this morning. His lies about you, they're done. Zaria blinked, caught off guard. You fired him? Because of me? Because he's a snake, Cassian said, his jaw tight. He wanted me to marry some heiress for a deal. Thought you were a threat. I chose you. The words hit Zaria hard, a crack in her defenses. She looked away, her fingers tracing the sketchbook. Don't expect me to thank you, but good. Later at a community arts center, Zaria stood before a crowd, her seagull painting projected behind her. The Zaria Holt Foundation, Cassian's creation, launched tonight, offering healthcare and art scholarships to struggling families. Zaria, as ambassador, took a deep breath. I was a waitress, scraping by, watching my mom fade because we couldn't afford a doctor. People like us, black, poor, invisible, we're told to accept it. But then I found my father. She glanced at Cassian, seated beside Elowen. It wasn't easy. We're not perfect. But we're here, fighting for others to have what we almost lost. The room erupted in applause, cameras flashing. Lyric, fresh from her gig, slipped in, whispering, You're a rock star, Z. She'd posted about the foundation online, countering Thane's lies with Zaria's truth, the video going viral. Thane's career was crumbling, his name toxic. Elowen stood, pulling Zaria into a hug. I'm so proud of you, she murmured, her voice thick. Cassian joined them, hesitant, his hand hovering before Elowen nodded, letting him in. The three stood together, a fragile unit, their hands clasped. Zaria's phone buzzed. Lyric's text. Look at you, changing the world. Drinks later? Zaria smiled, typing, "You're on." She looked at her parents, the weight of their past still there, but lighter. "This doesn't mean we're fixed," she told Cassian. "But it's a start." He nodded, his eyes soft. "A start's all I need." The crowd's cheers faded as Zaria stepped off the stage, her sketchbook tucked under her arm. The seagull was no longer a symbol of loss, but of something new. A family, imperfect but real, built on choices to stay. Zaria adjusted her easel in the sunlit studio, paint smearing her fingers as she added a final stroke to her latest canvas. A seagull soaring over a vibrant horizon. The room, a gift from Cassian Vale, buzzed with her energy, sketches, and half-finished paintings lining the walls. A year had passed since the Elowen Holt Foundation's launch, and today was her first solo gallery show. Her heart raced with nerves and promide. The seagull on her mother's wrist now a symbol of freedom, not pain. She stepped back, wiping her hands when Elowen entered, her stride steady, a far cry from the frail woman tethered to a failing pacemaker. "It's beautiful, baby," Elowen said, her eyes bright. "You've turned our story into something extraordinary." She wore a simple dress, her new role counseling single mothers at the foundation, giving her purpose. Zaria smiled, hugging her. "Couldn't have done it without you, Mom." Her phone buzzed. Lyric texting, "Galleries packed. You're about to blow their minds." Lyric's music career had soared, her latest single charting, and she'd performed at the Foundation's last event, raising thousands. Cassian arrived, his usual polish softened by a casual jacket. He studied the painting, his seagull tattoo peeking from his sleeve. "This is incredible, Zaria," he said, voice thick. "I'm so proud." He hesitated, then added, "I know I don't deserve to say that, but it's true." Zaria's chest tightened, his sincerity disarming. "You're here," she said, her voice steady. "That's what matters." She paused, then added, "Dad." The words slipped out, natural for the first time. Cassian's eyes widened, tears brimming, and he pulled her into a hug, his arms trembling. "Don't get used to it," Zaria teased, pulling back with a smile. "Still takes work." "Every day," Cassian promised, his voice firm. He'd cut his work hours, focusing on the foundation, which now served thousands with healthcare and scholarships. His empire was no longer his identity. Zaria and Elowen were. At the gallery, Zaria stood before a buzzing crowd, her paintings glowing under soft lights. She took the microphone, her voice clear. "A year ago, I was a waitress, pouring drinks for people who didn't see me. My mom was dying because we couldn't afford a doctor. Then a tattoo, a seagull, changed everything. It brought my father back, gave my mom a second chance, and showed me family isn't about perfection. It's about showing up." The audience clapped, some wiping tears. Lyric in the front row whistled, her grin infectious. Dr. Soren Quill, the cardiologist who'd saved Elowen, nodded from the side, his presence a quiet reminder of their journey. "You've done more than paint," he told Zaria later. "You've given hope to people who had none." Elowen joined Zaria, her arm around her daughter. "You're my miracle," she said, voice low. Cassian stood nearby, his hand brushing Elowen's in a gesture of friendship, not romance. They'd found peace, co-parenting Zaria without rekindling the past. Lyric bounded over, a drink in hand. "Told you you'd kill it. Next stop, national tour for your art, my music. We're unstoppable." Zaria laughed, the weight of years lifting. Her phone buzzed, a news alert. Thane Carver, Cassian's former partner, had lost his last investor, his smear campaign against Zaria a distant failure. Later in a quiet park, Zaria, Elowen, and Cassian sat on a bench, the sunrise painting the sky gold. Zaria sketched a seagull on her pad, its wings bold. "This used to mean loss," she said, her voice soft. "Now it's us. Together, no matter what." Elowen squeezed her hand. "You made us whole, baby." Cassian's voice was thick. "I missed so much, but I'm here now. You're my family, both of you." He looked at Zaria, eyes shining. "Thank you for giving me a chance." Zaria smiled, closing her sketchbook. "We're not done yet. Family's a work in progress." They stood, arms linked, the seagull sketch fluttering in the breeze. The foundation thrived. Zaria's art soared, and their bond, though scarred, was unbreakable. The crowd's cheers from the gallery echoed in Zaria's mind as she walked away, her future wide open. She'd share this story, her story, with anyone who needed to hear it. Love and forgiveness could heal even the deepest wounds, and she'd keep painting, keep fighting, keep choosing the family they'd built from broken pieces. This story of Zaria, Cassian, and Elowen shows that love and forgiveness can heal even the deepest wounds. What moment resonated with you? Share your thoughts below. We'd love to hear them. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. Your support means everything. Stay tuned for more stories of resilience and hope. See you next time.